Y'all, we have an update on Gene Hackman and the mystery surrounding his death. I'm going to go into it right after this. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, this past weekend, the New Mexico County Sheriff's Office came out and they did a press conference in regards to the deaths of Betsy Arakawa Hackman and her husband Gene Hackman. If you're not familiar with Gene Hackman, he was a renowned A-list actor for many many years, and probably in the past 15 years, he has pretty much faded out of the limelight. He was 95 years old when he passed away. And so I had reported earlier about some like mysterious circumstances onto how they died. There was a whole lot of conspiracy theories swirling around, but let me make sure I have that. The investigators and the county coroner came out and discussed what happened. So, what I'm going to do, so we have that the New Mexico's chief medical examiner, Dr. Heather Jarrell, on Friday came out and made a statement as to what her findings were. So, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you the article and then I'm going to summarize it for you as best I can. And please make sure you all hit that like button. So here we are. This is by CNN, and it's written by Elizabeth Wolf. And it says investigators share key updates on the deaths of Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. And here's what we've learned. And let me go over with you what we have basically learned. According to the medical examiner, that the Betsy Arakawa appeared to have died first. They make that assumption on the fact that the last time that anyone had any contact or she had been seen or communicated with anyone was February 11th. They did trace her steps and they showed through credit cards and other things that she had gone to the store, she'd purchased some items, and she'd come back home. Now, they're saying that her cause of death was the Honta virus, which is spread, that is specific to that area, New Mexico, Arizona, that it is spread by the deer and on rats within that area. They said that she contracted that disease, and it's a respiratory also infectious disease, and that the she was overcome by that disease, and that's why when they found her, she was in a separate room and she was passed away. You remember they had talked about specifically the pills, because I think some people were thinking that she had pruned herself from the timeline, but basically what has happened is that was a thyroid medication that she took. So basically she went to go take her thyroid medication and she dropped. In regards to the dog that died, this particular dog they have three dogs. Two of the dogs were outside, or they had access to come in and out of the property through a doggy door. uh this third dog apparently had some procedure completed, and so that dog was being uh, sheltered in a kennel to be observed to make sure that anything happened. And again, he succumbed to his death as well. And what they say about Gene Hackman is interesting. They're saying Gene Hackman suffered from uh, Alzheimer's and cardiovascular disease, which was exacerbated by his high blood pressure. So the scenario that they're pulling is this: is that she died somewhere on and about February 11th, and that because of his Alzheimer's and his other uh, pre-existing illnesses with the uh, heart issues and high blood pressure, that she died first, and so he basically lasted probably about a week with her being deceased and being deceased on the property. And they saying that the last registered event on his pacemaker was February 11th. I mean, excuse me, February 18th. So he spent probably about almost 5 days to a week inside with her deceased, with her being deceased, and him not being able to process or to process the fact that she died. He may have processed it and may have wanted to get help. Again, with him suffering from Alzheimer's, that was an issue and that was a problem. So we do get a little bit more of the story now. We do Another thing that I wanted to go over really quickly was the fact that they had talked to the daughters. Now apparently the daughters hadn't been in contact with their father for about a couple of months, and they're saying that Betty Arakawa hadn't been in contact with her family in about a month or 2 months around the same time. uh, Specifically is that they lived in different areas. So what I assumed is that Betsy was the caregiver for Jean, and once she had passed away, he didn't have the cognitive strength to be able to call for help or do anything like that, and he walked around and kind of floundered in his home until he passed away. It is said that the daughters, and I do want to go over this. Let me share this. Let's make sure it's sharing. So we have this is, excuse me, not page 6. This is Men Journal, written by Karen Harris. Gene Hackman's daughter emerges after false statement. Apparently, Gene Hackman's daughter claimed that he was in good health, and and I'm not going to go over too much in this article, but what basically the medical examiner said that his health was rapidly declining due to his Alzheimer's and due to his cardiac issues, his heart issues, his heart problems, and his high blood pressure, and that's basically what he succumbed to. But he was not. His health was gradually failing. He wasn't in good health uh, as prior to. He may have been, according to the daughter. Gene Hackman was doing Pilates and walking the property and doing all that stuff. But according to the medical examiner, that his health had deteriorated to the point where they didn't see that he was doing too much of that. And people were pretty much making a big deal about it. And I will tell you all this. One of the things that I've known, particularly when you have parents, and particularly when you have parents that remarry, and then the new wife is the caregiver, usually children leave that up to them. Now, I'm not saying, because I do not know if whether or not that the children had an issue about their father marrying a woman who's pretty much their age. I don't know anything about that, but I could see that they didn't have as much contact with their father, simply because, one, they lived in separate states. Now I know people say, well, they got phones and stuff like that, but it's not unusual and it's not unheard of that family members and things like that may contact you once a month, once every other month, depending on how far you live and depending on how close you are in your relationship with your parents. So I wanted to update you all on what the findings were. So apparently, and just to recap, it looks like Mrs. Hackman passed away first, and that was on or about February 11th, and then Gene Hackman passed away somewhere in between February 17th and February 18th. So, thoughts and prayers to his family. And y'all, what do y'all think about this story? I wanted to go ahead and go back over it and recap because I did talk about it. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that there's a conspiracy? Ooh. I'm going to do a video on Angie Stone, pretty much the update that I have gotten the information on in regards to that. I'll do another video on that. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye bye.